from the same people who have been attacking police and other people. Just as we had the individual who killed all those police officers in Dallas say he wants to kill white people and police officers. It's just unfocused hatred that is caused by the promotion of the Black Lives and Black Lives Matter Only movement. We should call it Black Lives Only Matter. That's really what we ought to call it so the people understand that. We're not saying black lives don't matter, but they're saying that other lives don't matter. They're saying black lives only matter. So there are death threats, and Alex is going to speak to that. He has spoken to that. You need to be concerned about what's going to happen at this convention. And as I just pointed out, in the wake of this most recent shooting today in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, we had 3 officers killed. Of course, that was the site of one of the people that was killed and live streamed on social media. That individual, however, unlike the other one who had not done anything, he had been pulled over and was shot, and that was live streamed as he died. That individual had not done anything. But in Baton Rouge, there was a question as to what had happened. They had been told that there was an individual with a gun, as you heard that clip that we ran from the police chief in Cleveland, where the RNC is going to be taking place. He said, we were told there was an individual threatening others with a gun. And so they were on heightened alert. It was not a clear-cut case. There are many clear-cut cases of excessive use of force by the police, but they always seize on the ones that have a gray area aspect to it, like this one did. And now they have shot and killed 3 officers. Many others have been wounded. They've killed 1 suspect. 2 other people are in custody. The police chief in Cleveland has said that Obama has blood on his hands that he will not be able to wash off. Let's go to this report from Alex Jones. He talked about the fact that even though there are death threats against many different groups there, including the police, it's not going to stop us from going there to report at either of these conventions.
It's Saturday, July 16, 2016, and I've had friends, I've had family, I've had former Navy SEALs and other people ask me, why are you going to Cleveland when it's so incredibly dangerous, when it's an admitted terrorist target, when you're doing so much good in the info war, why are you going? And it's because this is a critical year, not just here, but worldwide. It's populism against globalism. And there have been so many people trying to intimidate free speech in this country and worldwide, and so many on the controlled left that have been trying to ban free speech. And they've got the Democratic Party platform coming up in Philadelphia in 2 weeks. They have a plan to arrest people that deny man-made climate change. That's people that don't want to pay the globalists carbon taxes. That I have to go out and exercise free speech when it's dangerous, when it's all maligned, just at a metaphysical level, putting my skin in the game. That's what I've always done. And it's not because I have something to prove. It's that I understand that sometimes you've got to walk along the ridge. Sometimes you've got to be skylined. That's a military term where you don't want to walk on the top of a hill where the blue sky is behind you silhouetted. It's a perfect target. Unless you're drawing fire. And I mean that, again, at a political level. We have to go out and show the tyrants for who they are. Not just let them tell us, hey, you better not show up or we're going to get you. But show them that it doesn't matter, that the tree of liberty must be watered with the blood of patriots and tyrants, to Thomas Jefferson. And my God, I'm the guy that takes care of my family. I'm the guy that takes care of my kids. I mean, I'm the guy that runs InfoWars. I've got a lot of responsibilities, and I know they're important. But, again, at a spiritual level, it is important to not run from the enemy, but to confront the enemy peacefully with information, because ideas are bulletproof. And in God's plan, I know it's the right thing to go to Cleveland, to have our crew go to Philadelphia, Bilderberg, and other places. Like Bohemian Grove we snuck into, and going out and protesting the KKK, and La Raza and Mecha and other racist hate groups. It's what we do. And compared to what soldiers have done in the past, it's really nothing. But let's expand on that. If you look at Lexington and Concord, where the British were coming and confiscating civilian and the local government's guns, 1775, it's what started 1776, is what July 4th is. They had their guys ready, they're in front of the armory, they're on the hill, and they said, don't fire first, but if they want a war, they're going to get one. Well, I'm going unarmed myself. I'm going armed with information and the truth. But the point is that that was up there on the hill, waiting for the British, a force of 4 or 5 times bigger and with better weapons, to show up and to try to take their guns. And they said, look, we're not turning them in. Well, I'm not turning my free speech in, so I'll be there on the hill. That's how this works. And if the globalists and George Soros and people like that want to fire the shot heard around the world, that's their issue. And if they want to, try to hire some, mentally ill, twisted right-winger or something to pull something, I see that in the tea leaves. That's the way it is. We have to forget the maneuvers at certain points and go straight at them. We've gotten in this position because we always try to think things out too far and look at every angle instead of just doing what's right and saying, hey, justice be done, may the heavens fall. I'm done playing games, and I'm not trying to escape the New World Order. I'm trying to seek it out and expose it and defeat it. And to do that, I have to meet it on the intellectual plane of battle. We're winning the intellectual plane. Brexit. Congress has a 9% approval rating. The media, AP poll, 6% trust. The enemy is dying. The globalist lie is collapsing. The dinosaur media is already over. And now it's time to boldly stand up and say, we're not backing down. We're never giving in. And they may steal this election. They may engage in other frauds, just like they no-billed Hillary, just like they said, oh, we're not going to charge her. That made her even more unpopular. Resistance is victory. But if we don't speak out, if we don't take action, if we don't call for her to be arrested or indicted, then it would never even get to the point of them saying we're not going to indict her, she's above the law. That's why resistance is victory. Whether we win today or we win next year or 5 years from now, it's that animating contest of liberty, and it's the act
exactly,
of
and that, you can see the rest of that report at Infowars.com and at our YouTube channel. Of course, as Alex is going there, they're talking about how Cleveland's new park is going to define resistance. Wired magazine points out there's going to be tens of thousands of people combined into a 3-square-mile area of the city. All these people who are adamantly opposed to each other, and they say, well, they're going to outlaw tennis balls, flashlights, and water guns, but under Ohio laws, you'll be able to carry real guns. Well, you can't defend yourself with a tennis ball, a flashlight, or a squirt gun. It's going to be dangerous, but it's very important that we be there. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Alex Jones and our crew are on their way to the RNC in Cleveland. They'll be filing live reports. We'll have live broadcasts from Cleveland this week. I'll also be here for some of the broadcast, but for the most part, we'll be giving you live updates as to what's going on there. We got a large number of reporters who'll be covering every aspect of that. I want to get to what's happened in Turkey, as well as a couple of follow-up articles on the terrorism in Nice, France. Before I do, real quickly, I want to let you know that we have a sale on DNA Force. We now have it at 25% off, InfoWarsLife.com. This is one of our premier products. There's a reason why just one of these ingredients in DNA Force costs about $30,000 per batch. So this is a premium product, and when you get this at a 25% discount, it is a great discount, great time to try this product if you're not currently using it, or to stock up on it if you have been someone who's been using this. Now, it's loaded with patented bio-PQQ. That's a compound that's been backed by 175 clinical studies. You can look at those studies yourself. You can look at the reviews online, see what people are talking about with this. It's got more potent antioxidant activity than vitamin C. And, of course, it's not just that ingredient. It also has CoQ10, digestive enzymes, resveratrol, and many other things. And, of course, resveratrol is one of those things that has been also linked and studied in many different aspects in terms of helping you life extension and that sort of thing. So take a look at and do your own research. We can't connect the dots for you, but we can direct you to the studies that you can find for yourself on the internet, or you can take a look at what people are saying. They're 25% off DNA Force at InfoWarsLife.com. Also, don't forget, as we've got the RNC convention coming up this week, get your Hillary for Prison t-shirt. They now are back in stock at InfoWarsStore.com. All new Hillary for Prison t-shirts now live at InfoWarsStore.com. And, of course, we appreciate you supporting us. And those Hillary for Prison t-shirts, you can see that now, essentially the design. We paid to fly it over Cleveland. So you can actually get one to fly on your own chest, just as you see that now flying over Cleveland, Hillary for president, and it's being pulled around right now with the plane. You can see the report, Rob Dew flying in the plane, doing a broadcast of that. That's up on our YouTube channel, and it's also on our on Infowars.com. And you can get your own T-shirt there. Help support the operation. Help support what we're doing right there. Hillary for President 2016. Some great shots of that. Okay. Before we leave the RNC, I just want to give you a quick update on some of the things that are happening there. There was an interesting article from The Hill talking about winners and losers. And, of course, it was at the very end of last week, Thursday and Friday. They were talking about what was happening as the delegates were going to be coming, and the convention is going to start tomorrow. But there's a lot that's already been happening there, of course, with the platform and the rules committee meetings. This is where the Never Trump people were going to try to change the rules and essentially alter the results of the election, saying that their opinions mattered more than the opinions of the voters. I could never get anybody from the Free the Delegates movements to come on and talk to me, to be interviewed, because it is just, quite frankly, we all understand what it is. It's a super delegate, elitist fraud committed on the voters. They go into these areas, they tell everybody, hey, we're going to have an election. You're going to get to pick this. Everybody goes, does the election. They have the elections paid for by the state. And then they say, no, we don't like the results. And we have a private party, you know. So they're public when they want to be and they're private when they want to be. You know, it's just like crony capitalism. If the banks or the light rail systems that are coming through like we have here in Texas, these crony capitalists, when they come through, they get all this money from the government saying, you know, it's in everybody's best interest for us to do this. So we need your financing. We need you to steal property using eminent domain and turn it over to us. But then if they lose money, guess who gets stuck with the bill? They privatize their profits. They make public their losses. They socialize their losses. And so that's what we see. It's not only sour grapes, but it was an effort to say, well, no, now we're private, now we're public, now we're private again, now we're public again. That all got shut down, interestingly enough. I'm sure it had a lot to do with the fact that Donald Trump picked Pence, who was essentially throwing a bone to the GOP establishment. But they're saying that Trump's positions on immigration and trade have now been officially put into the platform committee, and you know the platform doesn't really make that much difference. It's really the candidate is going to create his own platform, and he's not going to be governed by the platform. It has absolutely no effect on the candidate once they take office. But it was interesting when they talked about how they beat back the Never Trump people. They said that former Virginia Attorney General Ken Cuccinelli, who was on the Rules Committee, and also a Ted Cruz ally, was going to introduce a lot of proposals that were going to alter, that were going to strip the RNC of its power over the nominating process. Now, as they were starting to do this, the woman who was chairing this declared an emergency recess and said the printer needed to be fixed. That was just a ruse, as they point out in The Hill. So the break was so that Priebus and other top RNC officials could convene a private meeting to talk to Cuccinelli and tell him not to do this, not to embarrass them, not to bring this up. And, of course, then they didn't. Interestingly enough, they say that what he was really trying to do, one of the key things that Cuccinelli and others were trying to do, was to make sure that future elections would not include independents or Democrats. In other words, not allow, bar independents and Democrats from voting in all RNC primaries. Well, you know what? I think you probably want somebody who can get independents. That's the way you win elections. You don't win elections. You can win a nomination easily enough, like Ted Cruz, if only the diehard Republicans are allowed to vote. But you really want to get some. You really want to find out if you're going to get a candidate who's going to win. And of course, they keep saying that. Well, you know, we want Ted Cruz because we don't think that Donald Trump can win. Well, Donald Trump beat him largely because he got so many independents supporting him. More independents support him than support Hillary Clinton. They want to make sure that doesn't happen again. And then they tried to say, well, we want to take control of the votes with the Never Trump movement. The people who were going to change the rules, they call it the Free the Delegates, saying that they're not going to be bound by the public election. They were going to just do whatever they wished. And they couched it in terms of obeying their conscience and in terms of them having First Amendment rights. What a bunch of nonsense. Now, they point out in this article from The Hill, that attracted very little support, with only about a dozen of the 112-member panel far below the threshold, even already low, of only 28 signatures on the proposal so that it would come to the floor for a vote. So they didn't even come close to what they needed to bring this, release the delegates, free the delegates up for a vote. So it looks like that part of it is not going to happen. Meanwhile, Bob Dole is very disappointed that Jeb Bush is going to skip the convention. And I think the